Let's get it. Well, hello, Nikisha. What's going on? I know you're hearing me. Notice I'm. You notice I didn't mask. I made sure. Ooh. You guys seem to like this topic. You're coming in fast and furious. I know you're hearing me. So let's start. You know how I normally start my videos. I promise to say the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So it's not to offend anyone, but it's just for us to get better understanding as to what the real issues are. Good night, Simplicity. Natasha, I see you. People coming on quick, boy. That's good. You know, I was told up to today that I have a sort of an accent. Do you guys agree? I'm all Trinidadian, from the Caribbean. What do I sound like? From which island? I've heard it a number of times, but today I think I've heard it about 2 or 3 times. So let me know. Where do I sound like? Which island? I know you ladies are into men and their voices. And their accents, sorry. So tell me. All right, so I know the reason you guys are on so fast and such a large amount is because most, if not all of you, have said just that. You want more than just sex. So I'm going to give the perspective from both genders, both the male side and the female side. Interesting, T-Mac. I'm of the view that we have had this conversation in person. That's why you said Tobago. So you're cheating. I'm sure. I'm almost sure. So, let's start with the men side. Because when it comes to the women, it always gets more interesting. So, as we have discussed many times, men are about sex. What drives men would be purpose and sex. That's what testosterone is. Testosterone is a sex hormone, and it's more of an aggressive hormone than estrogen, which is more of a softer, gentle hormone. So you always find women with high levels of estrogen are always going to be more submissive and soft all along, and even in tonality and stuff like that. Testosterone is the polar opposite. So a man or woman that have high levels of testosterone speak louder, speak more serious, speak in a deeper tone. So as you know, women who do have 5 tones in which they speak, and men have 3. So you'll hear women will go to that 3rd, sometimes even the 4th one. And when you hear them talk on the 5th one, where they're singing equal to a lot of men, and you can't really easily identify the voice, you know that person is highly on the masculine, and in most cases they are far gone and can't get back to some resemblance of femininity. Certainly not to level 1. So, but we're talking about men here first with regards to women just wanting sex. And a lot of times women tend to not understand that testosterone is about sex. So from a man's perspective, what he comes into a relationship and what he wants from you as a woman would be compliance. He would want sex. He would want submission, understanding, and support. Those are the things that a man comes into a relationship wanting. I was having a conversation today and yesterday with 2 people, and what they were asking is about cuddling. If a man likes to cuddle, it means that he's a bridge brain male, meaning that he has a lot of feminine traits. Doesn't mean he's gay. It means that his testosterone levels are lower, and his both sides of the hemisphere of his brain are able to, I don't want to get too deep into the terminology of names, but both hemispheres are, there are a lot more neurons connecting both sides. So as you know, women have a lot more than men, and that's why women always, their minds almost don't rest. Men's mind do go into total rest. So if a guy is watching sports or a movie with fighting in it, if you go to movies, you'll realize that both genders generally wants to see two different type of movies. And so that's what's happening there. So if a guy is into cuddling, for example, or likes hugs and cries a lot, it means that he's a bridge brain male. See, so, and generally, women are not going to be highly attracted to them unless they're turned on by stimulant of intellect. All right, so unless they're sapiosexual, they are not going to be easily turned on by a man like that. And in most cases, still, even if they are, you'd find that because testosterone levels aren't where it's supposed to be, it doesn't last long, you know, because she doesn't feel that he's masculine enough when she wants it to be turned on. So the reason women would tell men and feel that men are only about sex is because that is the trade-off and what men come into a relationship and what they want when they're dating you. You want their investment, which is their time and their energy and their resources, and he in turn wants your compliance. He wants sex and compliance from you as a female, and that's really a equal and a balanced trade-off, you know. But because women generally don't understand what men want, and it's not me saying it, but it's scientifically proven as well that there's a higher degree of selfishness from a female's vantage point than it is from a male's vantage point. You find that when women go into a relationship, they somehow think it's about them. So let's use Valentine's, for example, or you use anniversary, for example. A man wakes up and he doesn't tell his wife happy anniversary, 10th anniversary, for example, and he goes through the entire day. Now, he has a surprise or gift plan when he comes from work, but she's going to be upset all day because he didn't tell me happy anniversary this morning, or all day. So she's telling her girlfriends that. But what she seems to forget is she did not tell him happy anniversary either. So she's also upset with herself because it doesn't mean that he is the person that's supposed to always say happy anniversary or happy Valentine's and get you roses and stuff. Valentine's is not something I support per se, but because it's a romantic and it's deeply rooted in relationships, it's about relationships. It's not about female in relationships. But when you see advertising being done and you look at Valentine's and its whole, you see that women seem to think it's about them. Likewise, weddings. Before the last, 50, 60 years, or let's say 100 years, marriages or weddings were not about women. It was always about a man proposing, because women would have staked themselves up and hoped to be selected to be married. Now, when you look at social media and you see what's happening with the trend, you see that it's just has turned, and marriage is about women, and women don't marry a man in a relationship. A man marries a woman. So it's sort of a false understanding of reality. We seem to have been cultured to lies and what is not true. And so what happens in those scenarios would be people are hurt. Issues come up. Relationships don't last simply because people don't know the truth about what they're supposed to expect, what they're supposed to do, and how they're supposed to act and behave in a relationship. And that is what gets people into trouble. So when a woman says that she wants sex only, is because she's feeling that she doesn't want sex only, is because she's feeling that he is coming across from only the vantage point of wanting to be sexual. But that is what he needs. Females or women desire sex. Conversely, men need sex, and that's where the difference comes in. A woman only desires sex based on the behavior of a man. And if he doesn't get her to be if he doesn't get her to be engaged mentally to him, she will not desire sex from him. Now that can happen in the first 7 seconds, or it can take 3 months to actually happen with women. So that is where it gets really ticklish. And so the more women understand what a man requires, because when they come into a relationship and you're dating, it's balanced. Both people are coming in for something. It's not a one-sided thing. So what happens is a man has to almost, it's like an investment in a company. So he's coming in, he meets this person and he's saying, all right, if I spend X, Y, and Z and I give this amount of my time, I am going to get, my ROI is going to be 1 to 3 months. And so my return on my investment, he wants his return on his investment. And so while he's dating you, every time he spends money, the more restaurants you carry, you ask him to go out, the more you go out, the more he spends, the more doors he opens, the more he caters to your every need and makes you feel a particular way. He is giving resources and investment and time into you. And so the stakes of what he wants in return, his rate of his ROI is increasing significantly. And so when you look at this holistically, you'll find that men, in most cases, lose their investment, just like what happens in most companies when people invest in a startup, because they're investing and nothing actually happens. I've seen many situations where women have gone out to dinner, dates with men, and they're fully aware that there was no intention of dating that person. He is hoping, and she's going out on 1, 2, 3, 4 dinners with him, because most people don't know this, but women love to eat. And so she's going to ask for that dinner, especially if you have nothing better to do, she's going to accept it. So he's going and he's spending money, and some women actually don't know this, right? Some women actually don't know that there's a trade-off. Others do. I remember hanging out with a friend of mine, highly attractive woman, and she was telling me that she was dating, well, I shouldn't say dating. I call it dating in my mind when I heard it, but she went to a couple lunches with an older guy who could have been in his 60s. And I think it is the second or the third time that they went, and they were going to expensive restaurants. He decided to pass by a house that he was building or something like that. And while in the house that was being renovated or stuff, he made his move and attempted to grapple her and to, be sexual with her and stuff. And she's like, "What? I don't understand what you mean." And so, I don't see you like that. And so I'm listening to her, and I'm in my mind, I'm wondering, like, that's just crazy. And then I asked her eventually, so let me ask a question. When this guy was picking you up in his nice car, taking his time off from his job and spending his resources and time, which is part of time, of course, to take you out, what in return do you think he was expecting? And no answer came. So it's amazing to me that I don't know if any woman thinks that when a guy is doing that, he sees you as what? You all aren't good friends, you all don't WhatsApp each other every day and talk personal stuff, and that's not what happens. That's not the relationship that you all had. So obviously, if he's investing that kind of resources, he expected to get some form of returns. And then when you decide to stop off and go into a facility that he owns alone with him, it means that there's a degree of safety. So he was in most sense misled. Seemingly she didn't understand at the time what was actually happening, what was happening, which I really don't understand. But I'm sure she wouldn't be the first woman that has happened to, and if she didn't know that as was expected, then it means female hypergamy was working at its best. That's all it signified to me, that female hypergamy was operating at a high level. That's all. So when men decide to get serious and invest and spend time with you, he wants a return of sex. And then the other thing is, I've seen women who would date guys and no offset, on the offset, they based on the rule that they would give this guy 3 months to before they have sex. Now, truth of the matter is that a lot of times, well, sometimes guys are really only into sex, but I have a position on that, because there are very few guys that, no matter the quality of a woman, would only seek her out for sex. Generally, if a guy is seeking you out and it's only based on a sexual nature, most times women aren't aware that that's what the guys want, because of female hypergamy, again, they are telling themselves that they are worthy of his time and his investment. But based on my last video that we had on Wednesday night, if women would do a self-assessment, they would realize that, hey, there's a probability that I'm not at his level, so that what he wants from me, I'm not able to really give him. So what is going on here? And ask the right questions. But most times that's not what happens. So we know where that goes. But a lot of times women, and they are blindsided. They are blindsided by guys because they have no clue that this guy wasn't interested. But then also what happens more than in most cases is that a lot of women value outside of sex. It's next to nothing. So if you ask women pertinent questions about marriage and weddings and being a wife and stuff like that, or being raised in a home, or were they raised in a home where they were trained to be a wife, a mother and a lady, you will hear that the answer is no. And most women have no clue what that actually entails. So what tends to happen is when you interact with a guy, he starts to see that you are really valueless, other than you make his blood boil. And in some cases, a man is not able to tell that until he has that orgasm. His mind, based on dopamine and testosterone and vasopressin, they all create an illusion to him. When he has that release, that sexual release, these hormones tend to dissipate, and then what happens? He starts to see the true value of what is in front of him. I've had guys who have said to me, in my own experience as well, we would have gone to Osiak, Timbuktu, to get a lady, and as soon as the sex was over, in most cases, these guys wish that this woman would just simply disappear. And what tends to have happened in that scenario is that I always tell you there's a difference between your mind and your brain. And so your brain was saying one thing, but your mind was looking on and evaluating her properly. So when the hormones dissipate, your brain is now able to take these direct signals of what your mind see or saw, and the true value. Sometimes this happens, believe it or not, sometimes this happens after years in relationships. I'm not going to go into what tends to happen in relationship with regards to attraction. I posted a video up to tonight and about that with regards to what the mind of a woman, and it was said by a woman that when women get married, they get lazy and comfortable. It's undeniable. So that's taken it from a relationship standpoint. But when you look at it from a dating standpoint, both men and women date heavily. In fact, the statistics seem to show now that throughout a lifetime, women actually date more than men do. So seemingly what tends to happen is that men date more women at any one point in time, more people than any one point in time. So a guy can date 3, 4, 5, 6, 20 women at the same time, right? And then choose one or none. In most cases, when it comes to dating, women tend to date one guy because she's an emotional creature. So in most cases, she's not able to be attached or like 3 guys heavily at the same time. Even if there are 3 guys and she would like 2, but there's one guy who really gets her going in the bedroom and gets her stimulated. That's the guy that really leads. So there's almost always a guy that leads with regards to desire and attraction. With regards to a woman. However, throughout most women's lifetime, you would find that there are always guys in the waiting, or there are always guys if there's a breakup that would be willing to take her to dinner and stuff. So a woman can actually, being single, can date 3, 4, 5 guys over a 6-week period or 2 months. A guy has to wait on a choosing signal to get a woman to be interested in him so he can go on a date. But in going on that date, he can meet 2 or 3 women at the same time, and he can actually date all of them. That is not exactly what happens when tables are flipped. So one dates more together and one dates more apart. But when you look at the numbers overall, both from a dating standpoint and from a sexual partner standpoint, women in most cases actually have more sex than men do. All right? And even from a cheating standpoint, where women say, good night, Amaya, women tend to say, and there's a whole lot of misinformation happening out there. Even from a cheating standpoint, women tend to say men cheat and men are dogs and whatever. There's no evidence that shows that men cheat more than women. Go and do your research yourself and you'll see that women cheat on an extremely high level as well. And when it comes to relationships and telling the truth and lies, women lie more than men in relationships. The difference is men are worse liars because we are not able to remember as much on a broader scale than women are. We can remember deeper but not broader. So women have a better memory. And little lies. Women tell little surface lies, so a whole lot. Just go on the research yourself, people. Just spend the time and you'll see that these are actual facts. These are research done by universities worldwide that give, you choose a very large sample size and you get to understand the truth with relationships. So when it comes to dating, what tends to happen with most women as well, they start off having sex quite early on, and that's during the time, let's say a woman is 16, 17, 18 years old, whether legal or not, that's the time when a lot of women start to have sex between 16 and 21, right? And they throw caution to the wind, and most women you hear, they will use the term of my whole days. You know, in my whole days, this is what happens and whatever. In my whole days. Now, somewhere along the line, and we use the term danger zone between 20 and 35, and then you from 35 onward, you hit a wall, especially at 40. So some women are able to go past 40 because they have kept their body in shape, their skin is always in point, they're highly feminine, and they're just naturally good looking and gorgeous, and so they tend to thrive and last longer, right? But generally, when you get to 35, especially if you have kids, it's all over. But when you look at a woman who is between the age of 16 and 21, they throw caution to the wind. Even as late as 25, you don't really hear women say, I want more than sex. So in most cases, I've experienced and seen myself where that women tend to choose a couple of years. Some go as little as 1-2 years, and I've seen women do as much as 6 years, where 5-6 years where they have not actually dated someone or been in a relationship. May have light sex in between, but not something that is steady and ongoing, or dating anyone, because, and that's where the term comes out where I want more than sex. So guys do approach some women. They can tell that it's going to be sexual because they ask the question after a couple of dates, where is this going? And they try to pry and find out So at this stage, when you get to that age of, let's say, 25 to 28, you start to be cautious and you start to be aware that time is running out because your hormones are changing. As I said, women have 3 hormones that operate within them. And those 3 hormones are for 3 different purposes. And so when the second degree hormones start to kick in, which sort of gives an indicator of reproduction and the need for kids. And if you look back as far back as 100 years ago and back, you see that if a woman was not able to have a child, she was worthless. And if she was not able to bring forward a male child as well, it was even worse for her. Or it was worse for her. So that is still within women. And so women who don't have kids and don't have families don't feel as valuable holistically as a woman who does. And so from a woman's standpoint, why women aren't aware of how men see a woman with child or with kids is that when she has a child, even though she has that child out of marriage, she still feels more valuable and more accomplished than a woman who doesn't have any. But that's not how men see it. So these women now tend to say that I want more than just sex. And so what about the period of time that they were going, just throwing caution to the wind and doing whatever they want? That changed. So all of a sudden you tend to find women get an epiphany and they have value to their vagina. And so, you know what? This vagina is worth so much more than you know. So I know I'm not going to just give it to anyone. By that time, you'll see that most of the men who would have had access would have been worthless and of low standing. And now, for some reason, when they actually put in value to their private parts and sex, they are also attempting to increase the value of what type of man that they should be with, and what type of man is worthy to be with them and in them. And that is where it gets detrimental. So you hear women say, I want it to be more than just sex. And what it comes back to, and always will come back to, is are you worthy of a man seeking you out for more than just sex? Because when sex is over, then what happens to that relationship? What happens to you and him? What is it that you're going to do for him, with him, through him? What are you going to do for his kids? And he's not going to ask those questions. He's going to listen to what you say, because we are logical, highly, and so he's listening to what you said and what you didn't say. And he's also checking all the time of how you make him feel. You see? And the thing is, both men and women of different ethnic group and age require different things. So when you look at personality traits, you look at age, you look at ethnic group, those things give different signals. So for example, most red women, they are more feisty. And if you look at the type of foods that they like, you would find that it's more spicy. More black women would tend to want foods of a higher quality and richness, but not necessarily spicy. So in most times when you meet a woman who has a lot of attitude, you'd see, like for instance, Mexicans or Spanish women tend to have be a much more feisty. But that also transcends into the bedroom. So you'll find, like, why would a man stay with a woman that is like that? But she has engaged him because he has value and she makes him feel a particular way. Sometimes in the bedroom, and then sometimes because of culture, they cater for their men. You know, so she's able to engage him even though she acts a particular way and turns him off in one side. When he looks at it holistically, he's not willing to part with how she makes him feel and how she looks. So that is why women tend to say, in most part, you want more than sex. But are you going to get more than sex in most cases? No. And the reason why is if a woman tends to say she wants more than sex, it means that the only reason she is able to say that is because she has been able to signal or get the signal that men are coming towards her, and what they seem to want in most cases is only sex. When men are coming towards you as a woman, and that's what you're feeling, men are coming to you for sexually, it means therefore that is the only quality that a man sees or is getting on the most part. Some men would get more, what we call never expect and get. So they would never expect to land a woman like you. So they would put value to you in some cases that are not actually there. But generally, when you look at it holistically, if a man is coming to you or men are coming to you, and what you keep getting is men wanting your access and time because it comes across from a sexual standpoint only, it means therefore that you have to do a whole lot of introspection on your value, because a person cannot present to you what you're not. So if that is the energy that you're getting, it means that you have to look at yourself and ask yourself, what do I have to give and offer, and what do I give off more than just something sexy? So look at your clothing that you're wearing. For instance, if a man is looking at you in your job or wherever you go, and you get the idea that he says something, or he gives you an indication that you're sexy, or the outfit you're wearing is sexy, it means that you're already in trouble. Because a man must be able to see that you are sexy, but he must give you a compliment deeper than sex. He must say you are, for example, a lot of woman, a hell of a woman, a gem, you're deep, you are a woman of women, statements like that tells you that a man sees not only that you are attractive and sexy, but he sees depth and value and some kind of essence in you. So it's all well and good for you to simply say, I want more than sex, but you cannot have more than sex if you're not worth more than sex. And that is where we tend to get tied up, we tend to get confused, and women tend to get hurt and they die alone. Because one of the hardest things for women to do is to do self-assessment and give a real value of what it is they're actually worth. We went through it in great detail the other night. And we went through it in such great detail that since then to now I've had approximately 30 new followers on Facebook, and I've had about 10 people which I would have consulted outside of what I normally do, because they had a lot of questions based on what we discussed the other night on Wednesday. In fact, I posted the video on YouTube and Facebook, and they both rejected that particular video. Now, mind you, I have about 70 something videos up. This is the first time that a video was actually rejected by both Facebook and YouTube. Now, the truth of the matter is, the world is designed in a way that the media controls the narrative. And for all you know, this video and all because as we get deeper and more factual and more truthful, they may not approve this one either. Maybe I need to change the title, and so I'll probably change the title and see if that would work. But it was just amazing to me that video was one of the most truthful video. We went into a lot of real truth and real insightful stuff as to the real reality. And strangely, it was rejected. And if you look at the title, and you look at the titles that I've done with other videos, that title in itself was not as bad as some of the other titles that I've put previously, like last year, for example. You know, saying someone she will only submit to a man she respects. It's just something women say all the time. It's not a bad title, but that video, and they give me a long epistle as to why the video was not approved, and I can query it, but it's going to take a long time because of COVID and stuff like that. So I'm going to try to rename the video, relabel the name, and change the image and see if it's allowed to be posted then. But it was just amazing. And the reason is, and my view is that a lot of truth was spoken to give women reality and not allow social media and the media to control the narrative and sell dreams to women. I give you guys a clear reason as to why 85% of women actually end their lives single and alone. 70% of them actually get married, but more than 52% of marriages end in divorce, and only about 15-20% of women who are married remarry. And so when you look at those numbers, that's how you get about 83 to 85% of women never get remarried, and they date men and they have a number of partners over. They may have 1 or 2 children after, because women also tend to think that having a child with a man will keep him, and it doesn't. That's not the truth at all. You know, and it also drops your value and it wastes your time. I know women who have dated men for 10, 15, 20 years and never get married to that guy. He have wasted their lives, and he can literally go and get a 25-year-old woman and marry her, even though he have wasted 20 years of your life. That's just the sad reality. It's just the truth. There is a double standard for both genders. And when it comes to men, there is a double standard of what men can actually do later on in life. And there is a double standard to what women actually do earlier on in life. So when you women look at men who are dating you and you see, anytime you have to use that phrase, I want more than just sex, it means therefore that you have to ask yourself, do not always blame the man, because it's also something that I see a lot of women do, that they blame a male for ending something or something not working, or men are this, and they never really look at themselves and say, you know, maybe I need to be more. I've had conversations with people up till yesterday, and when I asked the question, answer me this, where did you get the knowledge and insight that you are imparting now and that you are using against what I am actually telling you? The answer that came out was my brain. Now, at that point, I ended the conversation. Today, I got 2 voice messages, and it said that I'm chauvinistic because I think that because women get older, they are not able to get in a relationship, etc., etc., etc. And I'm extremely wrong. And while, listen to this, and while the numbers may say that that's what's actually happened, she knows people, or she knows someone, I think it was, she said, who is 50 and got married for the first time, and they're happy. Well, let me tell you guys something. I too know someone who that has happened to. Never had kids, and they were 50-something years old or 50 years old, and that actually happened. So I know someone, and you guys may know someone or two as well. But tell me something. How many women do you know that are actually single? How many of you are single and you're waiting for that guy? So there's never an absolute. There are no absolutes. And there will always be someone that we know, or someone that we know, some people. But when you look at it generally, and most times, when you hear somebody say something like that, it means that they are also falling or is in that boat. So it's something that you just have to tell yourself in order to not feel a particular way, female hypergamy again, what will you say in a year from now, 2 years from now? I have two friends I know. In fact, one is an ex of mine that I know. And they felt that after breakup and whatever, they had all the time in the world. And now I'm seeing them on Tinder and stuff. Now, when you get to the point of seeking something on Tinder, it tells you a lot. Some people, a lot of women go there just to feed their hypergamy, to see how many men will click on them and like the images. But some actually go there hoping and praying that they find someone. Now, when you get to that point, it speaks volumes. As I said, I have an ex and another friend who felt that they have all the time in the world. But you know what? They are about a year away from being 40. You can say what you want, both genders. That number is probably the most life-changing, I'll use that term, figure for both genders. Because at that age, women somehow know with great certainty, not all of course, again there are no absolutes, but women know somehow with great certainty that that's the wall. When it talks about childbearing, they know that you tell a man you're 40 and you have no kids and you want that man to come and be with you, and if he wants a kid or 2 or 3 and you tell him you're 40, you know. Just look on Facebook alone and you can see the ages of the women who keep their age up on Facebook as a part of their profile. And then you can tell the ones who take it down are near, at, or have crossed it. There's a reason women don't give their age out to men easily as well. So we're fooling ourselves, and you hear it, a woman doesn't give out the age. Of course not. So we are fooling ourselves by saying that I'm chauvinistic, by having a position that is based on data. Anybody who knows me will tell you that I go based on research and data, not even my own personal opinion. I don't go by anything that I feel personally. In fact, most of you don't even know what my opinions actually are. Some people who know me that are looking on right now, and what I've realized as well, that many more people look at my videos than I think. Like, it's crazy, you know? And anybody who knows me will tell you that some of the things that I say, I actually wish I didn't have to agree with and believe it. But because of who I am and the fact that I always seek information, I have to go based on the data. Not going on data fools me and would fool you. Data, research does not lie. If we have 20 women looking on right now on this video, the data says that 15 or 14 or 13 of you guys, in the first instance, will not get married. And it also says that 80% to 85% of you guys that are looking on out of the 20, which would be what? 16, will die alone. It doesn't have to be fact, but the statistics say that. Now, if I were to just see everybody who's looking on now, women that is, and I'm to write their names down and ask a poll, a question, I guarantee you that I will get the figures to be very close on the button to what the percentages are, or exceed the percentage that I'm talking about. I know for a fact, for example, that I'm not going to get 50% of women looking on that are married and 50% single, or even 60% by 40%. I know I'm not going to get that number. And so the numbers simply doesn't lie. You don't have to like it, but we all are not trees. We can make a difference and make a significant change and decide to grow and really put in the work and really, make the effort. I personally have taken the liberty. Good night, bro. I've taken the liberty of putting in my calendar some stuff that people who are actually looking on now said to me. And mind you, in some cases, 2-3 months have gone and I have not seen the changes that they spoke about. And so the point I'm making in saying that is, it's not easy. It really isn't easy. But the other point I'm making is that a lot of times people do not really do the work. They just don't. There's a thing about being average that people like, and to the point that I've been told copious amount of times that I'm arrogant. But you never hear certain men or women, for that matter, tell me that I am. When you see someone tells you that you're arrogant, in most cases, I kid you not, in most cases that person doesn't know much or is not really in shape, or that's a defense mechanism because it helps them to cope with being less intelligent. For instance, you remember when COVID came in to play, how people rushed to go and purchase toilet paper. Those people told themselves that they were smarter than the rest of the world, so they rushed to go and purchase toilet paper. And they stocked up with toilet paper. How in God's name was toilet paper affected by COVID? It clearly wasn't, because some people have toilet paper in their homes right now that they have excess amount still after all this time after COVID started. I haven't heard somebody say that I'm looking for toilet paper and I really can't find it, and I'm using gazette paper, or I have to wash it for any extended period of time. So really and truly, it wasn't a problem. When you go and you do the research on that, you know what you see? You see that those are the people who made that decision because they went based on what people said and their impulse, and so they acted in an effort to make themselves appear that they are more intelligent than the rest of the world by being first movers and acting. It was actually being foolish. And maybe one of you are actually on the line, you're listening right now. It's not my personal... They weren't testing anything. They weren't that intelligent to go and test anything. Let's be real. They were acting on an impulse based on misinformation, and they told themselves, because they were not willing to do the real research and get the real information, they went based on what somebody else told them or what they heard, and they responded thinking that they were the wise one, or they were moving with the wise set of people with misinformation. And that is what actually happens throughout the world with a lot of information. I can talk all night, believe you me, but things that people say all the time, there are more women than men. You just name it. They are 3-to-1 women than men. Ask them where they have gone and researched that themselves, and you'll see. Bag of nonsense. Even on YouTube and stuff, I've seen people have videos with millions of followers and they're talking that nonsense that they're 2-to-1 and 3-to-1 women at men. And I'm like, how could you have millions of followers like that and talk that bag of nonsense that you can just, like right in front of my computer here right now, I have so much data of fact. So much of fact that if somebody were to say something that one of you say something now and I don't know it offhand, I have pulled up so much different segments here right now, I can find it and correct it. Because we have so much misinformation. You see? And so that is the problem we have in society, where people are not willing to really do the work. None of us are actually average. None. But most of us appear to be. 80% of us appear to be average. And the next 20% is most likely divided 10 by 10 of people who are really above average and people who are below average. Because generally you don't hear some people talk about below average. They don't exactly, Kim, they don't know the difference between confidence and arrogance. And so what tends to happen in most cases is that as soon as a person meets a person that is not like them, doesn't have to conform, that walks through a facility confident. I'm in a facility, gym training every day, and I see people train every day, and I see some guys who really look great. Never one day have I told myself, look how he's arrogant. For you to look the way you look, it means that you have done some kind of work. I remember growing up Bamboo Cathedral day, and a guy asked me, he walked with his wife, why do I have to wear my back? I remember I said this to a guy in the hat as well. I said, you could take off your t-shirt too. Mind you, he have a big belly. His wife laughed at him. You know, he had a problem with me being bareback. You can be bareback too, but you didn't do the work. Now, I'm sure found that I was arrogant. Do you know many people think that I am arrogant? Even up to this week, I have a friend who attempted to spend 24 hours back and forth on social media to show that I was insensitive and arrogant and all kind of stuff. Simply because I said to her, you're talking nonsense. She was so hurt by that, but you were. And we have a problem where you try to bring somebody else down because you are hurt. And I said nothing to bring her down. And if any one of you know my mouth, you know that how many things I could say to somebody who could have said to her to create some kind of impact. But I wasn't upset. I wasn't affected. I wasn't trying to win an argument. You just said shit and I said you talk nonsense. Say, okay, I didn't know and move on. But instead, you try to come across like highly feminine and about love and soft and whatever and gentle. But the fact that you can look at a man like me and you can feel that you could spend 24 hours going back and forth to have the last say means that you're not feminine. You're a proper female man. And I just wanted you guys to see that. That was the only reason I was responding. I don't care. It's not that important for me to have to respond, but I wanted you guys to see that when I speak and I say some things and it sounds funny, I wanted you guys to see that the reason that she was behaving like that was because a man had the testicular fortitude to tell her where to get off. And she simply could not accept that a man could have done that. And so she had to sort of create an impact and fight and argue with some stale jokes just to prove a point. And I, at the end of the day, just was marveling. Like, fool. You had to be called that. There's nothing else to be called if you are butthurt because I simply tell you your information is wrong. You're talking nonsense. Not shit, not that you're an idiot, not you're I could say so much things. I didn't say any of that. Just that you're wrong. It will always come back to, and if you look at every single video that I've ever done, it always comes back to, at the end of the day, what is your value? And why should a man want more from you than just sex when you don't really do the work to get better, give more? So a man will always, some of you women put more emphasis in buying a push-up bra, wearing a waist trainer, putting on eyelashes, doing the nails like everybody doing, and the one for your ring finger a different color, and all of this nonsense. But when you dress and you go out there, your breasts and your belly is at the same height. I've dated women, guys. Believe what I'm telling you. And in most cases, they would have slept in the same bed with me. I cannot remember more than one, maybe two women that I've ever dated and slept in the same bed with me who put serious emphasis into ensuring that the lingerie or the underwear that they wear when going to bed with a man was matching or attractive. I've seen some crazy stuff. Because you feel comfortable sleeping without a bra, you sleep in a bra. Because you feel comfortable sleeping in the boy shorts or jockey shorts, I've seen women do some absolutely crazy things and think that because they're comfortable doing that, they're born and grew up doing that, and now you meet a man and you come in his bed, so you go and lie down and sleep with this man, and he's going to be sleeping and watching you, that you feel that you should be wearing anything that you feel to wear because it's comfortable. Guys, I remember being engaged, and the woman I was engaged to, this son, when it comes to underwear, sometimes I'm not even home, I come home and meet her sleeping, and I walk in a room and look at her in a bed. If you see the underwear, sleeping in a bra and stuff like that, making sure that she don't sleep without a bra, that the breasts are to be dragging on the bed and stretching, and she was in ripping form when it comes to underwear. Because she understood the importance of those things to a man. A woman marry and they date somebody, and as soon as 3 months pass and they feel that they can go out with the man with curlers in the hair or bedroom slippers that people make a trend now. And I mean, it's crazy. What value should a man put to you when he's visual and you're turning it down because you want to be comfortable? And mind you, the first night that she spent by him, she didn't wear the man shorts, jockey shorts, or the boy shorts or whatever, or sleep without a bra. She didn't do that first night, you know. But all of a sudden, she feels it's comfortable and okay to do it after, and feel that a man must not want you for just sex. What else is he's not even good to look at? I mean, it's absolutely crazy. I could never understand wigs. When you put on a wig and he's dressing in you, let's say you all are engaged or married, and you're in the same room and he's looking at you put on a wig on your head, how do you guys really think that he feels? How do you really think he feels? He's watching you put on a wig. He's watching your real hair under some kind of cover, and you putting on a wig and you fixing it and addressing it to yourself. He sees that it's not authentic. Why should he want you or give you more than just sex? I kid you not. If I were to ask the average woman now what it is she can give a man more than just sex, you hear some stuff that almost every woman can give. Exactly, my brother, and that's the point, and that's what it's I don't understand how women don't get that. Like, nothing frets me more than seeing a woman put on false eyelashes. I don't know any man who have ever looked at false eyelashes and say, your eyes look amazing with those false eyelashes. I've never heard a man talk in private and say, this girl put on some false eyelashes. My God, she look amazing. Or, this girl put on a wig day and she rock it. She look crazy good. That wig was on. I can't wait to see what the next wig she's gonna put on is. I've never heard those things come out of a man's mouth. And women tend to say a lot of times that we don't dress for men, we dress for us. You are lying. You dress against women for men. So it might have a partial truth to the fact that you don't dress directly for men, but you dress to compete against another woman for men. And that is why when you see a woman, which you don't have to do, you look at a woman you look at a woman up and down, and you start to equate the value of what she's wearing. If it fits her well, does it fit her body type? I know that top from so and so. You start to put her in a zone and you rank her. Women rank women more than they rank men. But they don't understand that men who are high value and awake, when they look at you and you come to them with all these falsehoods, it's impossible. Exactly, my brother. It's impossible. How could a man, look at what he's saying, makeup, lipstick, wigs, the color all over the eyelids, you name it, the nails with all these colors, and you look like if you are Dracula's wife with all these pointy nails, and everybody doing one on the ring finger now, so you're doing it too. And how is it that you think that a man is going to look at you as high value, and if you're doing all of those things that he mentioned there, it means that you're also wearing the push-up bras, right? You're wearing the push-up bras. It means that you're also wearing waist trainers, those things to tie up your waist. So you're doing a lot of stuff that's also physically changing how you look. But then when you reach home, or you started dating this guy for after 3 months, he gets to realize your belly and your breast is the same height. He's still supposed to love you as you are, and see you for more than sex. So my point is, ladies, you, in most cases, are asking men for something that is not there. It's simply not there. And it's unfair to them, who you have to put an investment up front to be with you. They must invest, in most cases, up front to be with you. Mind you, COVID has changed that. So now you're not able to go out like you could have, so men do have to invest like they used to. And that's not going to change back anytime soon. Thank God for that. Men don't have to invest. Because I know some women who used to bring food, go on dates just to bring food back from dates for me. I kid you not. I used to go like in clubs and stuff. And these women would have wanted me to pass by them, obviously, for certain things after the club. And in case you're hungry, I have dinner. When I come and I see what dinner is, I say, will you get this food? I went to dinner with so and so. I ate every drop. Because some men are foolish enough to actually keep taking these women out to dinner for months and never get as much as a kiss. Crazy. But anytime, and I kid you guys not, you could evaluate it like this. Anytime a man is interacting with you, and he's not saying you're a gem, you're unique, one of a kind, you're interesting, you're deep, I respect you, stuff like that, you have a problem. Because if he's looking at you and saying, oh God, girl, or he looks at you and you could see simply sex in his eyes, you have a problem. Where is my shame with what specifically? Danica. So if a guy is coming at you from a sexual vantage point, I would advise you women to simply do some introspection and evaluate how you're coming across to men. Thank you, Kern. Never shaming food. There's no shame. That she's talking about. What did you expect me to do, Danica? Turn down steak, turn down pasta. And mind you, these women knew what I wanted to eat. So they would go and they would buy it and they would take a big portion and stuff. And after, well, you all like to eat, but generally don't eat a lot. I only met maybe 1 or 2 women who rarely could eat. But you hear it very often. I'll take this to go. And they bag it. And by the time I reach, it's in a plate, hot out of the microwave. I'm hungry. Came from a club after 3-4 hours of eating nothing, just drinking alcohol, your belly turning inside out. You need food. Not saying no to that. And then because you have to expend energy, Danica, or I had to expend energy, I needed to eat. couldn't go and expend energy on an empty belly. So sorry, no, I couldn't turn on the food. Exactly, Natasha, belly in my hand. So I hope you guys understand. I don't know if you women agree, because I haven't seen somebody says that I agree. But the point I'm making is, if a man comes to you and he's talking sex, and you're feeling that he wants sex and you just sex alone from you, you have to ask yourself some pertinent questions. It's not necessarily the guy. Because women have superpowers. I've said this many times. Women can make a player of players shut his game down in one instance. I know at least 2 guys. Actually, I know a lot more, but I can make clear reference to 2 guys that were out there doing it. And when they met 2 particular women that comes to mind, they give that guy an ultimatum. And that was the end of Solomon Agundi. Exactly, Kim. Fuel needed. And those guys shut down the game. End of story. You see them now, you just see shadows of who they were. Body has changed, all kind of thing. Papa dad buds. Weight gain like about 30 pounds. So women have superpowers, but only high value women can do that. And that high value has nothing to do with your accomplishment and if you're a doctor. In fact, I have so many women friends who are highly educated, and that has done much more damage to them than good. Exactly, good. So, of course, he's going to just want sex. Women are giving it up, and that's all he can see that you're worth getting from you. Because I know some friends and some people who are actually looking on this video right now, and whether sex happened or will happen or should happen, I do not, will not, and have not ever looked at them only for sex. Highly attractive people, I've never looked at them and say, yeah, I just want to beat her out. Or I have friends looking on right now, I know, and I have real friends. Never, some of them, if you see how attractive. But I could never, ever, 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 ever just simply want sex from them. It's like, are you kidding me? I have friends who have 1, 2, 3 children, and still, I could easily date and marry them because of the value, and I know even with 2 or 3 children, marrying them, exactly what I'm going to get and feel and experience that most women who are younger by a decade and without children are not able to give. So your value has to be based on something. It must be based on something outside of sex. So if a man is coming to you, and I say it again, and you have to open your mouth and say, you want more than just sex, you have to also ask yourself, am I worth to any man more than just sex? Because it's not him alone you have told that. You find it happening to you a lot with men, and you come and you say, all men want is just sex. That is not true. All they see you good for is sex. But there are many women who can tell you that their experience is not that men come to them only seeking sex. We are men. See Kevin Johnson on, Kern Johnson is on. These guys will tell you, there are women that we know, real sexy, but we cannot just think about just sex. And if we do just want to have sex with them, in most cases, we don't go around them because we know that we are not ready for dating a person like her. So we will not go around them unless we are actually ready to settle down, because we know that they are sexy, they are sexual, and we want the sex from them, but we also would want to really commit to a woman of that caliber. And because we know we may not be ready to do that, we will not go around them to date them, because we know we're not ready for that degree of relationship, because the value that she brings to herself, and we feel and we see, we do not even intend to go and even try to intervene and fool her because of respect. So, I've said my part, and I hope you guys understand. I haven't seen, maybe I've hit a nerve. Maybe I've said something to give some introspection, but I've not seen you all say much to really. And I know some people as well that normally would watch my videos, that my last video really impacted them significantly or negatively, in a good way. It wasn't like I was hated for it. It just brought so much reality that they are so hurt and just need to they didn't know some stuff before. And I empathize with them. But I personally rather that I tell them the truth and they know the truth now than to continue as they were going. That if there is some small percentage of hope for some different outcome, that I can start now based on what they now know, opposed to going through life being misinformed. So I'm happy that they know the information now, but I'm also sad by how they're feeling and the impact that the information would have had on them. So I'm going to create groups for support and to have breakout groups that women can come into a chat room, let's say 6 to 10. I wouldn't say 10, let's say 6 people, and that we can just have 6 women and men have conversations that can really bring some true understanding to gender intelligence and how these things actually work. Because I don't expect most people to really do the work. The information I have is between 5 and 7 years of information that I've gathered. So it always fascinates me, because I ask myself, what will happen in 10 years or when I'm 50, you know? But it really is it's sad, but I really recommend that all of us have something special in us and we can get exactly what we want, but we have to really be able to commit. And I'm not just talking only about from a relationship standpoint. I'm talking about life, business, success, spirituality, you name it. You can do the work. It's not easy. If it was, everybody would do it. But it's possible. So there is a possibility, some much slimmer than others. I have a friend, I have 2 people that I'm seeing on right now, as a matter of fact, that when I saw them the first time months ago, let's say a year ago, they're above normal, and so they were, let's say, out of shape. And because they're above normal and above normal height, they were out of shape and looking worse than normal. I mean, really bad, because the taller you are, if you're out of shape, you look worse, faster. And I'm seeing what you're saying, Kurt. You see, you're distracted. But I've seen them do the work, and my good Lord, the stature of these 2 women, and when I see them coming, I feel like a father who is happy, that jumping for joy for what he saw and the accomplishments of his children. I feel a sense of happiness inside that, hey, wow. I say wow. If you see it in my mind, like, wow, they are doing the work. Up to this evening, I was in a aerobic room with one of them, and my good Lord, she's a go-getter. She goes at it hard, you know? And I just can't wait to see the end result of when the work is accomplished. So great job, guys. And of course, I'm not going to call names, but so you know who you are. But I'm just amazed because now dominance is now coming into play. You know, I was talking to another friend and she was giving me a whole scenario, and she gave me her weight and stuff, and she's not normal. She's I should say not average height, and she's heavier than I am. And I said, you're wasting your life away. Get in shape. Because with that height you have, if you're in shape and you lose that what, 50 pounds, 60 pounds, you will kill people. Get in shape. You're still within a groove. Turn heads. And so I'm hoping and I'm waiting to see if that work is started and if it's going to be done. I've told other people I know this only way doing the work right now, and I'm seeing the transition. But there's a lot of work to be done. But every time I see them, I can see that a lot of work is being done, and I can't wait to see the end result. Because the fact of the matter is, a lot of people don't know just how amazing they are. There's a facade and a cover that fat and being obese and stuff brings over, and you can't tell. But when you do the work, the result is just simply amazing. The feeling, the confidence, everything is just simply amazing. And so, without doing the work, you can only work so much. And the more average you are, being real, the more average you are, it's only one thing guys would see you for. I have a friend who just had twins. Congratulations, though. Congratulations to you. And my good Lord, I saw some photos of her from earlier years. Stunning woman. And all I could say to myself is, when you finish make those twins, get that ass back in shape. My good Lord, there's nothing better than a woman with 3-4 children. With that type of stature and natural beauty, like natural black beauty, that can do the work and whip that body back into shape. You're not in shape, I don't care how good you feel and how nice you feel, you're running the risk of dying younger, having health issues, and you don't feel as confident as you are. And there's nothing stopping you from getting in shape except not being lazy and keeping your mouth closed. All right. By the way, don't forget that we now have a lot of apparels and merch available. T-shirts of different sizes and types, and you can get I'm keeping my mouth closed. Keep your mouth closed. Me and Olia, me and them. So you can get those merch to join the cause of what we are doing, and just shout at me and let me know what size you want and what color. They come in red, white, and black. People from all the US where we are doing some for now, and we are shipping to them over the weekend, who asked for some special, unique, one-of-a-kind. So we're doing that for them as well, from the US. So let me know what size you want and what color, red, white, or black, and we'll hook you up. We'll tell you how to get it as well, all right? So like, share, comment. Remember to share, please. Comment and subscribe. Bye for now. We'll talk soon. All right? Bye.